Now that the stalls are all placed, it's time to start configuring them so that we have the layout we want. One of the first things I'm going to do is want to turn off the side of the stall that is up against the CMU wall. If we copy the toilet stall outside the building and then look at the instance parameters, you'll notice that there are instance parameters for does side 1 exist and does side 2 exist. We don't name them left and right in case somebody has mirrored the component. So if we turn off side 1, you'll see that the entire side of the stall is now gone. So back in the bathroom, we will do the same thing, and side 1 will disappear. You'll also notice that the front wall of the stalls extend past the side walls. That's a condition that relates to, is the stall at the end of the run? That way a pilaster here can actually have some room to anchor into the floor or the ceiling. So if the toilet stall is simply not at the end of the run, you can uncheck those boxes and the ends of the front panel will come in. That will be how we get the wall to come out of the CMU. We'll say that side 1 is not at the end of the run. You'll see that the stall is already starting to look more like what we're after. One of the other things that you can configure is whether or not in-wall blocking exists at any side where the grab bars are located. You'll notice that there are instance parameters for does assembly blocking exist at side 1, side 2, or the rear wall. If these were metal stud walls and I wanted to show in-wall blocking, I could check that box, and the in-wall blocking would show up behind the grab bars. Since it's a CMU wall, I'm going to leave that unchecked, but I will leave the wall blocking on the rear wall. Zooming out and looking at the stall, the door currently is not in the appropriate position, as this would make it difficult to exit the stall and have to maneuver around the door. All of the stalls have a parameter, instance-based, that is door orientation flip sides. Checking that box will flip both the door and the robe hook to the other side so that we can have them opening in the correct direction. There are a few other instance parameters that you can adjust as well. If you want to change the angle of the door in plan, you can change it to something other than 90 degrees, and of course the robe hook will go with it, even though it's a separate robe hook that you can tag later as an actual piece of specialty equipment. Note that the angle in plan, including the robe hook, is only affecting the plan representation. In the model, the stall is of course closed, and the robe hook is of course on the closed door. If you don't wish to show the accessibility clearances on the outside of the stall, you can of course uncheck the ADA clearance exists for this object. You can also uncheck whether or not you would like the hatch to be visible inside the ADA clearance. Keep in mind, if you want to show it in some views and not others, then you'll want to leave these boxes checked. And of course, similar to other Parallax libraries, the same all categories clearance filter will allow you to turn off the filter in any views that you don't want to see it. There is a center line shown for where the plumbing fixture goes. Plumbing fixtures themselves are not included in the toilet stall library because toilets come in a variety of configurations, and some Revit toilets are wall-hosted, face-based, floor-hosted, and have other options. For instance, the Parallax toilets have shared nested swappable flush valves. Having the toilet component nested in another component makes using shared nested flush valves much more difficult. So, these stalls provide a center line to let you know where the toilet should go. If you don't wish to see the center line, there is a checkbox that you can turn off. Now, we can use all these same options to go through and configure the other stalls. Similar to what you saw us do with the first stall that was overlapping the wall, you can see that when we slide the ambulatory stall into the correct position, there will be overlapping panels and pieces. So what we're going to do here is this stall is not going to be at the end of the run, so that will change the front pilaster. And this stall is neither at the end of either run, and we're going to say side 1 doesn't exist. Now you'll see you have basically just the accessories, and we will slide this stall into the correct position alongside the other one. We will do the same thing for the next stall. And now we can start to move these stalls into position to create the entire bathroom. We can even copy another one over. And there we go. Now, this one is at the end of the run, but since there is a wall there, I'm also going to say side 2 doesn't exist either, and now we have just the toilet stalls themselves. We'll grab this ambulatory stall and also flip its door just to make sure it's opening in the direction that we like. And now we can go over and configure the men's room in the same way. So to recap, we're going to take the men's stall. We're going to say side 1 does not exist. We're going to also turn off the blocking on side 1. And we're also going to move the stall out of the concrete wall to make sure that we have it in the correct spot. We'll then move it back. Now on this one, we are going to leave side 2 visible because it has the extended panel for the door. So on the ambulatory stall, we're going to say side 1 is not the end, and neither is side 2, and side 1 does not exist. Side 1 was the wrong one, so we'll turn off side 2. We'll slide the stall into the correct position. And now we can take our typical stall, and we can do the same thing. Say side 2 does not exist, and move the stall into position. Not in the correct spot, of course. We'll move that into the correct spot, and then turn off side 2 exists. There we go. Now, if you wanted another one of these stalls, you could simply copy it as you did before. And then we have our urinal screen as well. So in this case, in the sample bathroom, I'm going to just use the urinal screen, and I'll dimension it in between our 2 remaining areas. This is a sample file, so this is not actually dimensioned correct, of course. We'll check our doors so that they're all configured correctly. If you want this door to open the other way, you can also flip this one, and it will move to the other side of the horizontal stall. And so there we have our toilet stalls configured with the instance properties and ready to move on to the more intense customizations of the type properties.